after Father ascended to his spiritual world and spiritual nature and dominion. Isn't it interesting that the whole world got flipped upside down and all the Satanists got exposed? Yes. I mean, literally, before Father ascended, you couldn't see who was ruling this world. It was impossible to see. There was this cloud of all these, the ruling elite. You couldn't see them. And if you even said anything about it, you'd be called a conspiracy, you'd be called a nutbag. Yep. You would be called a total crazy person. But then you have right after Father passes, etc., within a couple years, just like we said, you have the total reversal of dominion, and the world, the global elites start getting exposed, and their system starts collapsing. And they're in panic mode to keep it together. That's why they hate President Trump, because President Trump represents that on the macrocosmic level. He is shaking their whole system up. He's an outsider, right? Even before he ran, we were already telling people in Pennsylvania, George Washington is going to come back. If you were in Pennsylvania, you heard it. George Washington needs to be found. Not reincarnated, but George Washington needs to come back. Remember all those spiritual messages that Father put in like New York Times about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson? Remember this? In the spirit world? Remember this? And George Washington, we were talking about George Washington needs to come back. There needs to be American and French Revolution. The difference, when you look at it, is an Abel versus Cain type revolutions. The French Revolution, of course, as somebody said in the conference yesterday, leaned very much more atheistic. And you didn't have the elite, did not split. You need the elite to split. The superclass must split. There must be a good leader from the superclass to split off so that the normal people can gather around him and then stand with his resources and his network, etc., to then fight the existing oligarchy. Do you see what I mean? Like the American Revolution. The American founding fathers were British intellectual, they were high-class people. Like George Washington had $1 billion, a net worth of about half a billion dollars in today's world. $500 million. So he was a very wealthy man. You know, a lot of the founding fathers, very, very wealthy. They were in the elite class. Maybe not the super, but they were definitely high class. Okay? So if there is to be an Abel type revolution, that elite class, high class must also break too. They must be divided between good and evil. It can't just stay as one thing. If it stays as one thing, they have control over the military, media, everything. Do you see the problem? In any of those revolutions where the high class stays together or runs away, but they stay together, basically, they can come back and take over the nation. They can start, you know, they call it a grassroots revolution, like the French Revolution is grassroots. But it ends up in communism. It ends up in a socialist system. You need to have also the stratification from high to low, from the predator to the non-predator class. Because that's the real division in society. It's not high class, low class, middle class. That's not the real division. Because you could have high class predators, psychopaths. You could have high class people who are psychopaths. You can have middle class people who are psychopaths. You can have poor class people, low class people who are psychopaths. No. The real divide in society is not between high class, low class, medium, middle class, etc., which the socialists always try to say. That's not the divide. The divide is between psychopaths and the normal people. But the psychopaths look like normal people, and many times they act in a very gentlemanly way, like the Bilderberg groupers, or like these Davos groupers, or the international bankers, always so, or like the royal families of England. Yes, yeah. They act so whatever, but then they're killing children, they're raping babies, historically, you know. They're completely saying this. It's all a facade. It's all an image. It's all a lie. Right? So you need to have a split within the all the classes between the psychos and the non-psychos, so that the people who are not psychopathic can band together and then chase away the wolves. Because the wolves will hide in sheep's clothing. Right? That's the Bible warns about all the time. So that's what's so amazing about yesterday's conference, is that even being able to talk about this stuff, right? The right to bear arms in Europe, this is even to bring up this topic, you're able to now start connecting with able type people. And maybe, yes, they're scared to come to the conference, etc. But now you've already made the phone calls, you've made the networks with the shooting clubs and the hunting people and the folks that, you know, like fishing or conservative values, etc. So you've already talked to those people, and now you've made a connection. So they may not be able to appear in a public place, but they can meet in private. You see? They can now hear about the gospel, they can hear about Father's kingdom, they can hear about the Lord returning and His kingdom is coming. They can hear about the gospel of the kingdom of heaven. They can hear about the eternal constitution. You know, in private. I mean, they may be scared to appear in public. You know, but if you're part of the shooting club, hey, let's go out, we go out and have some lunch together. And already now, see, hearts are being transformed.